Did you know the karma of your ancestors is still affecting you every day? Keep watching to find out why and what it means for you. Let's talk about ancestor power and universal healing. Scientists estimate that humans first emerged about 250,000 years ago. Take a moment to think about that. Every choice and action someone made 250,000 years ago has led to this moment, to your life, here and now. Without our ancestors, we wouldn't be here. Every advancement we have has been built upon their experience and knowledge. It's truly amazing to think of how much history is embedded in every single cell of our being. We are our ancestors and they are us. The face we see in the mirror is their reflection. We carry them with us and within us in everything we do. Spiritually speaking, our ancestors represent a lineage that our souls chose to join before being born this lifetime. As souls, we wanted a particular set of experiences and circumstances that would help us to fulfill our karmic duties and to continue our path of evolution. Every family carries with it its own unique energy representing different strengths and weaknesses. Think of this as an energetic map or blueprint for ascension. This blueprint is created by the choices our ancestors made and the experiences they lived. Through them, we have so many blessings, but we also have so much work to do. Because let's face it, no family is perfect. And sometimes it may even feel like there's a family curse because the same patterns and cycles repeat generation after generation. But this is exactly why you chose your family. Because those challenges and karma will help you to grow and evolve. As we work on ourselves and break the limiting and traumatic cycles of our family's ascension blueprint, we not only find a place of peace within ourselves, we free our ancestors, and most importantly, we gift a better path to future generations. Before we can understand how to heal our family's cycles, we need to first understand a few things about how they were transmitted. From the larger perspective, our family is a part of a community and culture. These identities help to shape our beliefs about what is right and wrong, as well as customs and social norms. Many of these ideas were developed in the past as a means of survival, which means they may not always fit with our social and spiritual view of the world today. These ideas are constantly being challenged and tested by each succeeding generation. Now, on a smaller and much more personal level, our parents, for better or worse, have been downloading a blueprint into us from the moment we were conceived. Mentally, they give us their fears and joys, likes and dislikes, many of which they learned from their parents who learned it from theirs. And just like mental blueprints, they also give us a physical blueprint which will determine everything from how we look to possible health challenges. Each family's ascension blueprint has a list of positive, negatives, and neutral traits. At the heart of every family's negative blueprint is often trauma. For example, an experience that runs in many families is addiction. If you take a moment to think about it, this pattern didn't develop on its own. There's often a particular set of circumstances that set that wheel in motion. Trauma experienced by our ancestors will quite literally reshape our DNA. In the spiritual community, we often speak about this in terms of cellular memory. What this means is our cells change based on our actions and experiences, good or bad, and they are always working to help ensure our survival. Now, when we have children, there are supposed to be checks in the system to prevent negative or mutated gene expressions from being passed on. In some cases, traumatic experience can override the system, causing the inheritance of a modified gene. This phenomenon actually has a very fancy name, which is Transgenerational Epigenetic Inheritance. To better understand this, let's explore a couple of examples. Towards the end of the Civil War, there were many prisoners who were kept in terrible conditions. When historical researchers examined the lives of the survivors and their children, they found something quite peculiar. The men that suffered in the camps lived shorter lives and had major problems with their health, keeping jobs and participating in their community. Now, we know that can be expected given our understanding of PTSD. But the really interesting part that the researchers discovered is that the sons and grandsons of these men experienced the same mental and physical challenges as their fathers, and also lived shorter lives. There was another study that looked at a period of time known as the Dutch Hunger Winter, which took place in 1944, where 4.5 million people experienced famine. The children born after this time were smaller and had an increased rate of metabolic and cardiovascular diseases compared to their parents and grandparents. And these changes continued for 2 generations. And finally, there was a study that found that descendants of Holocaust survivors have genetic profiles that make them more prone to anxiety, depression, and sleep disorders. Researchers looked at numerous other communities to determine possible causes for this change, but they could only correlate it to the experience of their elders in the concentration camps. All of this goes to show that we are quite literally carrying our ancestors' experiences in our blood. As we grow in our spiritual awareness and work to heal ourselves, we begin to uncover many of the destructive and limiting patterns in our blueprint. Our healing becomes their healing, and an act of redemption for the past and a blessing for the future. This is why many Native American cultures practice the 7-generation principle, which means they consider how their actions will affect the next 7 generations in the future. Another take on this is the belief that this work also heals 7 generations in the past. That's pretty amazing. When we actively seek to mend the wrongs of the past, breaking the unspoken contracts, and completing the unfinished business of our forebears, we are performing what is known as ancestral healing. This type of work helps us to uncover the core issues of our lives, issues often related to money, relationships, and our sense of fulfillment. Once we know what the problem is, we can trace it back to the roots, healing patterns at the deepest level through understanding and forgiveness, giving us a new path forward, moving from a place of pain to one of power and manifestation. Remember, until the lessons of the past are learned, these cycles will repeat again and again. Now, I don't want to make it seem like we only carry a legacy of pain and suffering, because we don't. On the positive side, we also carry our ancestors' hopes and blessings along with their strengths. Just think of what they had to go through and survive so you can be here now. In part 2, we will explore how you can begin the process of ancestral healing for yourself while claiming the gifts of your lineage, which are your birthright. I hope you will join me next time. If you would like to learn more, or you're looking for a supportive, open-minded spiritual community, please visit beingonecenter.org. Thank you.